I have a Zoom.
Good morning, everybody. We're just going to wait here a couple minutes to let everybody in and then we'll get started. If you're not muted, if you could, please go ahead and mute. We get a lot of feedback and echoing through.
Hey, the Zoom is starting.
So this is what I got. So 672.
Morning, everyone. It's good to see that you're on here. Drew, how's it looking? Are we good?
I think we're good to start. It's a few are trickling in, so we can go ahead and move along.
Okay. Morning, everyone. Happy July 10th in the nice balmy weather of Indiana. I hope you're all holding up okay. And I certainly hope that during this hot summer you get a chance for some respite, some rest with your loved ones, maybe get away a bit. But we are here this morning, and our program is your program, or your program is our program. And Drew's keeping an eye on that chat. If you would, if there are specific questions or maybe even a topic that you would like us to hit on, please put that in the chat. And while we are waiting to get started on what you've got, I'm going to show you something here. If I can get going here. All right. I apologize, Drew. Is my screen still being shared? Oh, it is. Okay, there we go. All right. And if you are not muted, would you please mute your microphone so that we don't get feedback?
Yes, you can start to reflect that.
I hope that you know by now that we are preparing for conference coming up September 21 to 24. The MC Suites, if you don't already know this, is sold out. However, we have a new room block right across the street at a brand new hotel, the Residence Inn, and it is lovely. And the service there is exceptional. So I believe it's already posted on the website how you can make reservations at that hotel. Weathering the storm is our theme for this time, starting now all the way through the year. We're going to hit on the topic of weathering the storm. And I think you know by now that ITA and township government has been weathering the storms of those that put township government under scrutiny, sometimes for reasons, sometimes for reasons we don't understand. But I want to assure you that as we brace for the 2026 session of the General Assembly, we have not stopped working since the close of this past session. We are busy meeting with leadership and trying to get a handle on where they want to take us. Everybody's saying we've got to do something with township government. It's a matter of what, okay? So our job is to make a proposal and to try to build consensus around what we see as the least detrimental to township government. There is a lot of talk around consolidating around commissioner districts, consolidating around cities and towns, consolidating around school districts, going to one trustee per county. All these different models are being considered by, hold on. Okay, there we go. All of these different models are being considered in one way or another by different leaders of the General Assembly and the governor's office. So that's kind of where we're coming from with the storm of life. But I suspect you all have experienced personal storms. I know I can see some of you on this call that I know have had personal challenges the last year or two, whether it be health or professionally with your township. And that's where we want to edify you in the upcoming conference. In addition to that, we already have a strong lineup of classes that we intend to provide to you. But today, we are open for your suggestions. So if there are topics that you believe we have not covered at conference and they should be covered with everyone, please put that in the chat or email us at ita-in.org, excuse me. If you could just, drop us a line and tell us what you think should be added to conference and maybe a little bit about why, or any kind of proposal that you have in the area of education. We want to hear from you, and we still have room on the schedule to add topics. One that we are working on that we believe every township employee, every elected person in township government should attend, and that is ethics in public office. It's very important that all of the people that work for us, speaking to the trustees, are trained appropriately in ethical behavior when you are representing a public office. Furthermore, where do public access laws come in on this? This class is going to be offered on Monday afternoon. Excuse me. And we hope that everyone that attends the conference will attend one of the sessions simultaneously on Monday of the conference. Monday at noon, when we break after the morning session, the delegates to the convention will stay and have a lunch set aside just for delegates, and we will have a special meeting of the convention. Now, a delegate is a trustee or board member of a township that is in good standing. In other words, your dues were paid in a timely manner, and you don't have any accounts outstanding with ITA. So those would be the delegates to the convention. And during that time will be the opportunity for non-delegates to attend this ethics training. We'll have some other options as well, but I just want to stress the importance that we all make way for this this new class. Okay. Dave Rodriguez will be joining us again this year, and his primary message to us is basically, how do we weather the storm? I know, speaking from a place personally, that having gone through some storms of late, that I could not have made it had it not been for the support of people like you, my family, my friends, my team in my office. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how that works, and what to do if you have a crisis in your township. How do you deal with it, as a leader? So that training will take place both in the keynote on Monday and the Wednesday leadership training. And I want to emphasize that leadership training is for all of us. Everybody is a leader in their own right, whether it's from your position or from the relationships that you have built and the leadership that you have displayed. Leadership is just influence, and we all have a level of influence, especially when we are working in a public office, in how we present ourselves and how we communicate with the people of our community. So I'm really looking forward to this conference, and I hope that you are as well. So again, looking for your ideas today. Furthermore, we are looking for volunteers that want to help out on site at the conference. We always need hands to help. Helping hands really makes the dream work, right? So if you want to join the on-site team of volunteers, please let us know. We have options such as being a classroom facilitator, where you'll help get classes started and ending on time, collecting questions and getting them to the moderators of the class, things like that. We need people to check badges or take tickets. We can use your help, and we'd like to get more people involved. So let us know if you'd like to do that. All right. So, Drew, do we have any topics or questions?
We have a little mix of both. How do you want me to go about this? Just go down them?
Just go down them.
First question was, please explain the new townships road and infrastructure law, please.
Oh my goodness, that is a big topic. I'll give you the short of it. The short of it is this. We will be given the outline, the instructions, and the spreadsheet for developing a capital improvement plan. And basically, that is where you are taking all of your revenue that is not already obligated to a budget or debt, things like this, and you will be accounting for where you intend to spend it. So let's say you're saving for a piece of equipment or any kind of public works project, you would be able to put that on your CIP. And that would then create those funds to be in a place of restricted. So restricted in this instance is they'll be hands off, if you will, to this new road fund. We will all need to establish a new road fund and a resolution between our boards and whomever you choose, whether it be a city, town, or county, for future involvement or expenditures for road or infrastructure improvement. There are certain funds that are restricted, and that will be in your instructions. And I promise you, once we have anything from DLGF that we can share, we will do it. And DLGF will be sending you notification as well when the CIP form is ready. We will provide training on how to do that as well. So I want to assure you of that. But once you are able to calculate between your restricted funds and any funds that are still non-restricted, then we will have to apply 30% of that remaining bucket of money, if you will, and transfer it to the road fund. So that was a really short explanation. We could spend a whole hour helping you understand. Once we have the CIP form, we'll be able to drill down deeper and make sure you all understand how to do it. And the deadline on this.
Kathy just commented.
Oh,
No, I'm talking about reading the thing.
Oh, his notes.
If you could please mute your
Something to-
microphone, Terry. Thank you. Okay. So I lost my train of thought, y'all. So we are looking forward to getting the CIP form. And Drew, did I leave anything off that as a highlight to the plan?
no, I mean, it's just kind of a wait and see. I don't think any agency has the right answer from the state level as far as a timeline. People in the chat are asking, when are we going to get this? We've asked the DLGF. They're overwhelmed. They know we're going into budget season and it's going to be due by September 30th. So they said a couple weeks ago, mid-July, we're at the 10th. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, we would have a template for a CIP. And the biggest thing the CIP is to protect your money. If you don't want it to go to that roads fund, that 30% transfer, one, we're required to do the CIP, but it's also going to help protect us. So if you have infrastructure projects or equipment that you're buying in the next years or coming years, we're going to want to state those things so we don't have to do that 30% transfer of the unobligated cash balances. So it's very complex. It's hard for us to understand from the ITA perspective how this is all going to play out. We knew it was going to be messy. We wanted the CIP because we wanted some protection on money that was unobligated and unrestricted so that we weren't just giving all the money that they thought we were sitting on when the legislative session first started.
Mm-hmm. And just to build on that, you can go ahead now and start preparing for getting that CIP form by thinking through projects that you intend to do in the next few years and what kind of figures, how much money do you plan for that project? So you can do a little preemptive work. I want to encourage you not to be down on DLGF. This is not on them. I firmly believe that the General Assembly, when they make retroactive laws or things that are enacted as of July 1, it puts a hardship on the agencies to figure out how it's all going to work. So think about it. That department was hit with Senate Bill 1, with the one we're just talking about, the new road fund for townships. and many other statutes that we're not even talking about in our realm that they were supposed to figure out by July 1. It's an impossible task. And so I know from talking to the folks there that came and presented for us last month that they're working
Let
fervently
me send
to
this
get
to
that
you
ready
and
for
see if
us.
you can
Okay.
open it with a volume.
Kevin Toth, can you mute? So that's pretty much it on the CIP and road fund.
Debbie, I'm trying to go through here to make sure we can knock out the roads fund and CIP stuff.
Mhm.
And not have to jump back to it later.
Mhm.
No, somebody said, do we have to have our CIP to the county council at their August meeting? There's nothing the CIP has nothing to do with the county council. This would be something that you'll have to file with the DLGF. If you do not file it, they can freeze your levies. There is some punishment to it. It's going to be an annual thing for us. But we don't have to take that to the county council meetings.
And September 30, again, to stress, September 30 will be our deadline on submitting the CIP to DLGF.
Somebody asked, what accounts are restricted right now, in our opinion, and we'll see. We'll see what the DLGF says, but let's say that what's unrestricted would be your rainy day and general fund. Everything else would be restricted. Fire fund, township assistance, service levies, cumulative funds, a donation fund or a home rule fund, payroll clearing accounts, payee accounts, anything that's not general or rainy day is considered restricted funds and would not be subject to that 30%. The balance date is being used to determine the 30% is your end of year cash balance. So it'd be your December 31st of the following year. So it would be for this year, we would be looking at 2024. For next year, they'd look at 2025's ending cash balance on your annual report. Recreation fund, parks and recs would be restricted. How far out do we need to do a CIP? 1 year? Is it 1 year? Is it 5 years?
I believe it's 3, actually.
3 years?
Mhm. And I want to let you all know as well that the training, and Drew, you can speak to this better about the training last month and how they can access that.
Yeah. We had a in-person training 2 weeks ago from Monday in Westfield that covered the CIP and the Township Roads Fund. It is online. People paid for it. We have the recorded version for $25 that we can send to you the links for all the materials and or the recorded version of it. We had representatives from a CPA firm from Coonrod and Associates or Coonrod and Company. We had the DLGF there, which they didn't give us much more than it should be coming soon type of information. They didn't really fill us in. I think they're frustrated with how it got dropped on their plate, especially during budget season, where they're not quite ready to unroll everything all at once. And then we had Jeff Bellamy speak as well on the roads fund transfer and levy situations. If you're interested in that, just email me. My email is adurham@ita-in.org, and I can try to help you get that. We try to do it as a paid thing to try to get people to come in, and we have to get these people to come present to us. Not that the DLGF is charging us, but some of these corporate vendors that help set up these trainings, we have to be able to do that and the sites that we use. So it does have cost to it. Let me see. Deadline for CIP is September 30th. We hope to have more conversation at at conference about the CIP. So if you're attending there, there most likely, I'm not speaking for Debbie, will be a class on the CIP. It's going to be obviously a week away, so it's not going to be the best, but it could give you some more clarification. But we really need the DLGF to tell us what they're going to think on it and what the form is. So from ITA's perspective, we're just playing the guessing game and saying, we think we can do this, we think we can do that, but they're obviously going to be the authority on the CIP. Somebody's talking about an annual election report. If you make more than $5,000 to file by noon tomorrow, what is that? The CFA 1? I'm not sure what that is, Debbie. I know what a CFA 1 is, but I don't remember us having to file anything other than the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Drew.
You just do an
I was-
annual.
Sorry, that's what I was told too, but there's something going around that, I mean, I file annually at the beginning of the year, but there's something being said that if you make over 5,000 or board members, you have to do a CFA 1 by tomorrow. And I believe my understanding is it's only there are some trustees and board members that close their banking account. And so for those who haven't filed who have closed an account and don't file annually, now they have to file at least once a year. Does that make sense?
Did somebody hear and say that in the chat or in the group?
Yeah.
Or was it?
Yeah. And I heard
CFA would only have to do with campaign finance. It would have nothing to do with elected officials. I don't know. I can't speak on the campaign finance portion of it, but I've never seen anything that if you made $5,000 more.
Well,
or,
no, you don't, unless you receive salary of 5,000 or more. It's my understanding you do not have to do the CFA reporting. Okay, so, and if you don't collect funds, yeah, you don't have to have a campaign finance committee.
Okay, I was told by our county clerk and even the county chairman contacted all the elected officials stating that this form had to be filed. Even if I closed my account, I didn't file any report the last 3 years because I don't have a campaign going. So I contacted the county clerk and she had said, yes. See, first I was told the CFA and CFA are 1 and 4. I was told only the CFA 1 has to be filed. Even if you close your accounts, even if you don't have a campaign fund committee or anything, and even though I had zeros in all my account or in all my numbers, I still had to file the form. Otherwise, I was told, and if I had to be over $5,000, every elected official had to be over $5,000. Otherwise, the election board can elect to fine you for not filing the form. So that's what I was told. I filled the form out. I filed it, good or bad, but I was only found this out 2 weeks ago. So it went in effect July the 1st. So somebody is not getting the information out to the elected officials effectively.
Never heard of a July filing for anything. It's annual or pre-primary and pre-election reporting.
Debbie.
Oh, hi, Angela.
Hi. I'm only chiming in because it affected both myself and my husband. So we received a letter from our county as well, the end of June. I've never had a campaign. His has been closed, and we both had to file them by, I want to say it was July 6th, or we were going to be fined if we didn't have them in. So yeah, both my husband and I.
Listening to this, Betty? Come here. They're talking about campaign reports. New law went July 1st, and you got to file a report.
Be Lytle, can you please mute?
Oh, excuse me. No, I have nothing to say. I'm talking to someone else.
I know. Can you mute?
Yes.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm only because both myself and my husband that and Lauren was like, "Yep, we got to get this done." So he filed it for both of us. So it was definitely a change that had taken place. And I mean, when he submitted it, he was like, "This is very silly," but it was, if you made more than $5,000, we had to have it in before we went on our vacation.
So Debbie, and I don't mean to interrupt, my understanding is it's a change. This is what I was told by Diego Morales, that in those cases where they have not filed an annual report, they're an elected official, but in the cases where, as she was an example, they did not have a campaign or they closed their account, there was never any reporting every year. Now, Diego, my understanding is wants every elected official to do some sort of reporting. For us who keep our campaigns open and we file annually, it doesn't affect us. It's for those only who have not done reporting.
Okay, so I would just, on that, thanks Kathy and Angela, I would say then, if you have a question about it, get a hold of your county clerk to see if you are required to make that filing. But it really sounds like it's for those that don't keep a campaign open and file annually. Okay, Drew, next issue here.
Are there going to be any classes that pertain to smaller townships?
I saw this one, and I hope whoever posted it will help me understand the differentiation between small township and the rest, as far as learning about statutes and applications and so forth. I know that we have tried to do a few things that were focused on small communities or less populated townships around certain issues, but I'm curious as to what you're after. So if you can either speak up or put it in the chat, that would be very helpful, because we want to be sure that your needs are being met. So I guess we'll wait for a response on that, Drew.
Yeah, it just says iPad, so I don't know who that is.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody says, please talk about the new law of recording our meetings. I don't have any way of doing that, so I would like to hear how everyone is going to comply. I'm going to put in the chat here just so that we don't have that much time, but there is a township talk that we did in March on the recordings. Again, another bill with not a lot of guidance. We've tried to reach out to the public access counselor for some guidance. State Board of Accounts doesn't really have anything rather than are you doing it or not doing it? And after that, we're kind of on our own. Some townships are going as little as using a cell phone to record, getting in on YouTube or some type of streaming service. But that YouTube that we talked about some examples that we use, and I will put it in the chat. So any of our township talks are found there that we've had in the past year or so. So that one was in March of 2025. I think the best thing for it is try to record or live stream the best you can. I think it's another one of those, we're going to have to work through this. Everybody's is going to look different. Some people may have, a production company or use the local town hall to do their meetings and have it recorded there. But from townships to libraries to school boards to everybody in between, we're all figuring out how to do this if you're not already prepared. And other than most cities and maybe some county commissioners or councils may have the capability already, everybody else is scrambling to figure out a way to do it. There is a claim in there, if you don't have sufficient internet connection, you can record it and archive it for 90 days, but it has to be somewhere online accessible. So if you don't have a website, I'm not really sure where that accessibility would come into play. I don't know if you can get the county to post your meetings or another local agency, but the training kind of talks about how, I did it through my township and it's just my one opinion. We're hoping to get somebody at conference to talk about their experiences or some professionals to help kind of guide us how they could help set it up and do it for a reasonable cost as well.
Okay. Thanks, Drew. I see there's a question about classes on the new consolidations that have taken place. I'm not aware of any new consolidations that have taken place other than with Adams Township and the town of Sheridan, and that was the Modernization Act where they built a new unit and basically the township government was dissolved. But I'm not aware of any what we call mergers having happened other than the fund merger, which you allude to. We have provided classes almost every year for I don't know how long on how to merge. So Charles and Terry, I know that you chimed in on this. Love to hear from you what consolidations you're referencing, first of all, and what you're looking for in the realm of merging class. Very glad to have that conversation offline here. If you email me directly and give me a little bit more information around that, that would be helpful.
I do have a thing about the CIP. If you do have any technical questions and you want some help, let me know. Email me for that too. Coonrod helps us with technical assistance on financial matters, and I can forward you your contact information to Abigail Parker, and she can get into the more details if you're wanting to have a more hands-on approach. Just email me I'll put it in the chat, and just tell me your township, your name, and what you're needing help with financially, as far as if it's the CIP or if it's just budgets, and I can get that to them. Somebody said, please explain the CIP form is. It's a capital improvement plan. So we're trying to take those unobligated, unrestricted funds and give them a purpose rather than if you don't designate them for a purpose, they can be subject to that 30% roads transfer. And then it would be restricted to that fund. So the CIP, you can put in there, I want to add on an addition to my office, or I want to buy a new fire truck for our fire station, or I want to buy equipment for the volunteer fire department I contract with, and it's going to cost $25,000. You almost want to go through and make a wish list of things that maybe you haven't done, but I would consider doing them at this point, unless you want to give all that money that's unrestricted to the roads fund, which then there's some more processes that we will have to go through as far as we will maintain the money in the roads fund, but the city and the county can come to you and make a request, enter into agreement, and then basically township dollars will now be spent on supplementing some of the roads projects in your community. You can use it to make township park improvements. Just say, I want to buy a new, let's just say splash pad, because I'm thinking about one. $500,000. I may do it 2 years from now. I'm putting $500,000 on my CIP for park improvements. If you want to be in specific and say, playground structures and a pavilion, you can do that as well. So you're wanting to put what you're going to do with that money. Their whole theory is that we have $785 million in cash reserves. We went and fought against it, told them those numbers were way off. There's things like township assistance and fire that we clearly knew were restricted funds. That a fire levy is different than a civil levy. We thought that was an automatic out, and we tried to fight back on it. So we fought for the CIP, because then they were still like, okay, well, you have your rainy day fund and your general fund. Well, we want all that money as well. Well, some townships have been saving that money away. I don't think we're just hoarding it and holding on to it. Maybe there are some out there that have high cash balances and no plans to use it, but some of them do save up for fire trucks or capital improvement projects. So we asked if we could put a CIP in there to give another layer of protection. And then if you don't designate it, then you're going to be subject to that 30%. So your restricted funds plus your CIP are protected. After anything that's not included in those is going to be subject to the 30% roads transfer. And maybe Debbie, I think next month I can talk with Abby, but maybe we can do another. It's not going to be as big as the day we had in Westfield, but a day on the CIP basics. And by then we should have. I would hope we would have something from the DLGF, and we can't really give insight on anything on something we don't produce. We're working on a resolution, Kathy, with Jeff to give a template. I asked him about the MOU, and he said I can't really make a template for an MOU because it's going to be too specific, for every community. But we will try to work on getting a resolution ready for that, so that we can have one. I know we have to have a resolution for our board to even enter an MOU, so we'll have Jeff hopefully get us one, and that's what I'll probably be the best thing to do in August is focus on that CIP. Still maybe talk about it at conference, but at that point, you guys are really going to be pushing up against, do you have it done by September 30th, and the end of conference is September 24th. So that will be the plan, is to try to get this still circulating while it's still fresh, while people have a lot of questions. We have a lot of questions from ITA, from different agencies of how we need to do this. And we're kind of trying to figure out in a rush. So if that's all right with Debbie, I'll try to plan that and organize that next Township Talk in August, the second week of August, to talk about the CIP and all the information we have gathered from this point, and hopefully an outline or a form from the DLGF. Rita, did you raise your hand? I seen something pop up and it disappeared. Rita Barrow? No? Okay.
Okay. I do see.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh.
I am currently doing my treatments, but I wanted to reach out to you guys because we were talking about the capital improvement plan, the CAF1 or whatever it was. They told us it had to be in by June the 11th at noon. So we did that. The other thing that we were talking about was if we encumber money for our capital improvement, can we do that as we're doing budgets?
Can we do the capital improvement plan as we're doing the budgets? Is that what she said?
To put the money in there for our capital improvement plan.
I think it's going to coincide with it, since the budget workshop seasons are going. I think our area reps are going to be the ones that kind of facilitate the CIP. I don't know if we'll have to put it on like our Form 1 or anything like this is going to that, because those are appropriations that we're actually spending. So I don't know if you necessarily, I mean, if you put in your budget, it's not going to be subject to the 30%. So that's another way you can do it. I'm not going to say inflate your budget too much, but some people have asked, could I just make my budget, I wanted to put $500,000, even though I'm not going to spend it, so that it was protected. Well, it could be in that instance, because it's your budget expenses that are subtracted out of that calculation.
Okay. Thank you.
Debbie, Flory said that at the presentation, the DLGF said something about turning it in August to the county council, and I don't understand where that was in the law.
Yes, they did mention that, but in more of a private conversation that I had with the instructors, they said, we know this is going to put people up against the wall and getting it to the county, but I think everybody will be understanding that there's been a delay. So that's all they said about
in
that.
the initial law, though, there was nothing ever that mentioned we had to turn stuff into the county council for for our CIP. in the original CIP, there was nothing in there about the county council review. So I don't understand why. We're going to have to get more clarification on that, Flory, or who, and somebody else may have said that earlier, but it wouldn't make sense to put something in there that wasn't written into law.
I didn't see it. I was surprised when they noted that in their presentation.
Okay. All right. This is to Center Township, Wayne County. I know you said that you believe the classes are geared towards larger townships. What we try to do is aim for the middle, actually. We do hear from some very urban townships that they can't relate to what we're instructing, and we hear from the less populated townships that we're not providing enough instruction. So I'm looking for like specific topics and how those would be geared for the less populated townships. You know, I know that we have tried, you know, to satisfy everybody's needs, and what it requires is to take some principles that are being taught and figure out how you can apply those principles or those statutes to where you are. So it does require, you know, additional, you know, consideration, thinking on the part of those townships that are at either end of the spectrum. However, like I said, I'll just reiterate it. We want to hear from you specific ideas or examples of what we can do to meet your needs. And I would encourage you to send us an email, or we can arrange a call, what have you, but we really do want to hear from you more in depth on that.
Julia, we're kind of waiting, Julia Goon, we're waiting on some clarification, but that has been mentioned on road, sidewalks and trail paths, if it could be included as in the road infrastructure fund. It would be good if it could, because, you know, I even talked with our city the other day about a targeted project, and I said, well, I would be, you know, curbing or sidewalks to a certain area near a park that I own, that I was like, I would be okay with that. I don't think a lot of our money is going to go as far as they think it will. But it would be a good area for us to be able to say, hey, we can do some stretches of sidewalks. Some cities and towns do, you know, 50-50 matches for homeowners and stuff like that. So Jeff said it's possible. Jeff Bellamy, our ITA attorney, we just don't know for sure. And I don't think anybody does. You know, I don't think the cities are going to know whether or not we're allowed to participate in that. But I think it would be plausible that we could do something as such as roadways and walkways.
I know that was the intention when the law was being written, the statute, that it was the intention that we be able to use those for different types of infrastructure. They even alluded to development in parks. So, but it would be a city, town, or county doing the development, and the township would participate with funding. But want to stress that we are not required to participate in a particular project. We will have the power of the yes or no on any proposals that come our way.
Somebody mentioned small townships. SBA will frequently indicate to get your legal counsel. We don't have the funding to pay much of anything for legal counsel, so that is a problem many times.
Understand. And I can tell you that on our end, we are not lawyers, the ITA team. We are not lawyers. We are many times in a situation where we can pass on legal opinions that we have asked for and secured on behalf of townships, and we are able to pass those on when there are particular questions. But as far as the SBOA or even the ITA saying that you need to speak to your attorney. The statute says that trustees are to appoint an attorney. There are a lot of things that we are required to do that you should not try to do without a lawyer. It's just how it is. I know that you can obviously shop around on price for their hourly rate, or you might be able to find a local attorney that would work with you on a retainer so that you're able to budget each year. But you really should be putting aside at least a little bit in your budget each year for legal work that you need. You may not have to spend it every year, but you should have it on hand just in case something comes up. And you should have an attorney on hand, whether by retainer or a letter of engagement or some sort of agreement that you know you've got one to call, especially if there's an emergency. Right. You guys have been great. I'm really glad to get these questions, and Drew and I have done our best to answer them. Again, our door is open, so to speak, for you to bring suggestions, to offer yourself as a volunteer for a conference, and any kind of engagement that you would like to do or have further guidance on, just let us know. And I can't say that we can get back to you super quickly because there are 1,000 townships plus. So we do get a lot of email and a lot of phone calls. Email is preferred along with your after hours phone number. Drew and I many times do our callbacks after hours in order for us to get to everybody. So that's what we encourage you to do. Just try to have patience with us as we try to turn around all of the requests.
Debbie, I just want to answer one last question before we get off here. Lori McCoy
Yeah.
said, should we have our board approving a new road fund? And structure so we can add that to our line to our 2026 budget? The DLGF, and I think Tom's Web even put something on their Facebook today, how we're waiting on the, what would you call that? The fund code for that. And that's another thing that I think is kind of tricky. If I don't budget anything for the roads fund, I can get all the money I want in there. I don't necessarily have to appropriate anything for it. So there's, I would say, holes. There's some, I'm not going to call it a loophole, but in my understanding, I have cumulative funds, but I have no budget. I'm not spending anything out of it. Who's going to enforce you to have to spend it is the problem. There's not been any. The bill had a lot of, it was like Swiss cheese. It's like, well, I can do that to get out of that. Well, you have the roads fund will have to be there. You'll have to make a transfer, but the spending of it, whether it's, like Debbie said, we can strike down any project, so we could do no projects, but also you could not appropriate any money out of it and just build that fund. But then it's just restricted money you're sitting on. And then maybe they'll change the law and come back and say it's mandatory. You're just going to transfer it over. But for right now, we have a little bit of protection with the CIP and some of the stuff that's there in the restricted funds. And then on the end of like technicalities of our budget process, yes, there's going to be a roads fund for townships. But if I don't appropriate money for the roads fund, can you legally spend that money on a roads project that year? No. Sorry, Deb, I don't know if I should say that, but that's how when I hear things like, I'm like, well, if you didn't appropriate it, technically you can't spend it.
Right. That's right. Okay, just before we sign off here, I want you to see our website so that you know where to find things. So first of all, let me get you here. When you go to the website, you'll see over here on the right-hand side, upcoming ITA events. And by the way, we didn't mention that we have another full-day training coming November 5th, and that will be on fire protection and territories at, it says Convention Center. That's interesting. Not sure exactly exactly where it will be held, that's yet to be determined, but mark your calendars for November 5th. But here under the conference that you see is September 21 to 24 at the Embassy Suites in Noblesville. You would just click on details and registration, scroll down, and we will be adding another hotel option here. And you can see that let's see, the registration methods. Here's information for sponsors and vendors. Anything else I should note here, Drew? You can click on the registration packet here. So it takes you through, shows you some important dates, the schedule of events, highlighting the leadership development series. We're going to Conner Prairie again. This was a hit in 2023, and we were actually shocked by the feedback that we got of people asking for us to do a redo and go back to Conner Prairie. So you see same band, same food, same barn, same good time. Class topics in the registration pack. These are just this is just the start of the topics. We're still waiting for your input to finish building out the program. ITA award nomination form. Get these in as quickly as you can. They must be to us by August 28th at the very latest. Then the registration form, and you're good. So next month's Township Talk, we're going to aim to have a recap or a review of the CIP, whatever information we have at that time. We are looking for your suggestions for future topics as well. We probably, we won't have a Township Talk in September. So we'll start back in November. We'll have August, then, October. So we're always looking for topics that you would like to see covered or experts that you'd like for us to bring in to help you out with what you're dealing with. So I guess that's it. Drew?
That's it. And like I
All
said, we'll
right.
try to plan for the CIP for the next Township Talk. It's a lot to fit in an hour. Obviously, there's a lot of questions to it, but I'll try to see if Abby's available to help me out with it from a CPA's perspective, and if Jeff Bellamy can join us as well. That way, I don't think we can get through everything, but we can give more of a playbook, a better stance, especially if we get a lot more information from the DLGF.
All right. We look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Make it a great one.
Thank you, guys. See ya.